guys, welcome to the HOONCAST episode 2.
Hi guys.
We are back.
Yes.
I'm sure the other one is, it's actually being released, posted today. So this one should follow hopefully
Soon.
5-7 days after that. So please make sure you guys subscribe. We've got a lot of things planned coming up with these podcasts. And like I told you guys, the purpose for this is obviously to reach more people, to help more. We
share more knowledge.
Share more knowledge. The more people we can help, whether they, with us or not with us, it's always about, helping others to move in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So for today, we're going to touch on a few things. So no Q&As today. We might do another one on the next podcast. But for today, we're basically going to touch on a few topics that people, might relate to now currently with their situations. So, and that would probably be for the prep phase, peak week phase, as well as the recovery phase, the reverse recovery phase,
post-show.
Yeah, post-show. And the different types of post-shows that we do, because there's not always one, especially when it comes to the guys. And then we're also going to touch on very important one, training.
On training intensity.
Training intensity. It's a massive one. It sounds simple and basic, but it's not. And for those people that think standing on stage is 80% diet, 20% training, it's definitely not the case.
It's a lot more than
everything
that.
needs to be 100. So let's start with maybe the peak week.
Okay.
So we got a few coming up now soon for the last time for 2023.
Yes.
So what should we start on? Okay, obviously I think the biggest thing about peak week, especially for newer athletes, is going into the show. I think a lot of people always think that
it's a magic week.
It's a magic week, they
things are just going to change drastically.
Body fat wise, if you're not in a good position, I want to say ready 8 days out from show, then
you're not ready.
You're not ready.
Postpone your show dates.
So it probably, so
essentially what I like to say is I like to say to the athletes, I'd like to have you ready, a week before your show date. So peak week literally is there to reduce fatigue, pull back on the cardio, pull back on any, excessive stress on the physique, so you can really dry out the look for show day. That's essentially what peak week is all about. It's just...
And for some people, they don't even need drying out. They literally just need to...
They
same week, nothing needs to change.
Nothing needs to
change. I had
change.
a few of those.
They're just cruising to show
and still,
days.
When those people come in, when they're perfect, 7 days out, they literally spot on. So you need to hold that.
Yes.
Then they still think but why am I not changing anything this week?
Why?
I need to do a drop. I need to do a water drop. No, guys. That's why it's so important to trust your coach.
Alter soles and this and that. And no, that's...
It's actually even better if you don't have to change anything in peak week. It's less stress on your body. It's less tools that you play with. It's risks. But like she said, so ideally you want to be ready, so let's say 7 days out from show. Body fat wise, you literally just then want to drop stress on the body. You don't want to be doing more cardio in peak week, guys. You literally need to, everyone's different, but you need to back off on cardio quite a lot on peak week, because obviously inflammation, cortisol levels, all of these things play a massive role in how the body looks. If the body is tired, it's not going to respond well. Digestion issues, it's not going to get the proper results that we wanted to get with carb ups and water drops. So I think that's the main thing, is to drop the stress first of all.
And it comes from, training as well. You don't want to go and try and push for, PRs in peak week and, train with that type of intensity in peak week, you kind of want to pull back a little bit. I like to say, train just for blood flow. Just get some blood through the muscles, but don't train heavy weights, because we try to reduce inflammation on the body. So you just want to train just for a nice pump and blood flow as well.
It's not like you can still gain muscle in peak week. So don't try to gain more muscle in peak week, guys. You literally don't want to do any stress and harm on the body. And
what is your take on your water approach and your salt approach in peak week?
everyone, yes, it's so difficult to say this, because I don't have
one size fits all.
Yeah, like so many people are always like, what's your protocol? I don't have one. Literally, I go with how the person looks on a day, same as with check-ins. How you look there, I make the call on that day, exactly what we're going to do moving forward. Obviously, for guys, it might be a little bit more specific into detail than females. They obviously need to be a lot more harder and grainier, way less water in the body. But again, it depends. I have Tommy now, obviously competing in India. Now, Tommy is someone that, this is just an example, holds a lot of fluids genetically in his legs always. Since we've been working together 2 years, his legs blow up with water. So I literally give him 10 minutes on the stairmast and he picks up 2 kilos the next day. That's how bad it's on his legs. So his peak week is obviously, being approached a little bit more aggressively, I want to say, on getting fluids off. Plus, every time we go into peak week, he's got about 5 kilos of water to drop.
To make weight.
To make weight for classic. Not have to drop it. He needs to obviously make weight. So it's non-negotiable. So his approach is obviously a lot more aggressive. But again, I never get to a point where I completely cut sodium. I never get to a point where we cut water. None of that. We actually keep water crazy high, like 8 liters, like we've been having it the whole time, just so he can keep going. And then on show day, maybe, or if he needs to make weight the day of weigh-in, we might just cut it for a few hours till he makes weight, and then it's back to normal. Where you can maybe talk about the girls, how we normally, you wanted to say?
Yes, just one more thing that I actually thought of. Is there any other tools that you like to incorporate for someone like Tommy, who's a big...
There's always a lot more tools that needs to come into play. So first of all, I always start the week with someone like that with natural diuretics. So extra caffeine, maybe dandelion root, vitamin C, stuff that's really, really good. Him especially, Epsom salt baths on the legs, amazing, really works well. And then obviously you get your saunas and stuff. And then as we go deeper, maybe the last day or last 2 days, if we still see like, okay, there's 2 more kilos to bring off here, we might bring in a little bit of a harder diuretic. Now, again, saying this, guys, I'm not, if, you are someone using these kind of stuff, it's not, I want to say, safe. Again, nothing about the game is, but make sure that you get the right guidance when it comes to these things, because I know there's a lot of girls even which should never do this, but girls taking hardcore aldactones and Ridax and stuff like that as a water drop, and that's, it's, you just need to make sure that you get the right guidance when it comes from this, because like I said, it's not healthy, I want to say. So yeah, I'm just giving you guys obviously what I'm doing. I'm not saying do this, so please don't misunderstand it. And it's very, very specific times that I will ever use something like this. But in his case, it's definitely, we need to get that fluids off to make weight, and because his body's holding more. Where a normal person, going into peak week, not really much fluids to take off, or maybe a little bit. I always use the natural stuff. I feel like it's very, very successful. I always get successful weeks out of that. But again, water always stays consistent. Like if they had 6 liters going into peak week, their normal day, I just keep it at 6. And then closer to show, if I feel like something needs to change, I'll change it. But up until like one day out, it will probably stay the same, maybe go slightly higher even,
Okay.
depending also when we start carb up, obviously.
And I know you like to use like the carbs with the salt intake, and you're quite specific with the amounts of salt to get that.
Yeah, like I said,
to get that final.
there's
look.
actually so many things to say about this, because
It
and
just
I don't know what
branches
to
out.
always say, because it depends. There's so many different.
Variables.
Just this year, I had so many different physiques in peak
Yes.
week. I had the same physique looking different 3 times in the same year, that everything needs to change. So,
And that's also, why one peak week will never be the same for that, even for that same person.
Exactly.
Every prep and every peak week will look different,
Yeah.
because it just is. The body is different every time. It can never be the same. That's why no one can ever receive the same protocol.
I mean, I had people 1 week out eating 3,000 calories, and then I had people, males now, 1 week out, the same guy 2 weeks later, and he still looks the same, but he needs to eat 1,400. It's so many things, extra things that play into. You can never
You need to
copy the same setup, or
keep such a close eye on things and monitor the look literally, by the day, sometimes even more than once a day, especially when it comes to guys, because they carry that much amounts of extra muscle mass.
yeah. And then if someone like, who can I use? If there's a bodybuilding guy that is seriously flat, but there's still a lot of fluids to take off, and he doesn't really, or he maybe has to make weight, doesn't have to make weight, doesn't matter, but he's 2 days out. Obviously, they need a lot of days to carb up, and you still want to get fluids off. So as I start that carbing up process, even with more fluids to come off, maybe then in some cases, again, it depends, but I'll lower salt quite a lot, but I'll still keep it in every meal. I'll just lower it a lot, just not to hold that extra fluids as we carb up. In most cases, I've seen people pull tighter from this though. And then, as we got that fluids out on show day or so, I'll bring that sodium maybe back up to normal base, maybe slightly higher.
And what is your reason for that?
It's just to keep fluids off. And then when I bring that fluids off, especially on show day, because sometimes I don't like to push, actually always, I don't like to push food high on show day, because every single athlete needs to have a tight midsection on show day. I don't care who you are, every division needs to have a small midsection. And putting a lot of volume in there, especially for guys weighing 100, 120, it shows, it will. And, it's against, they actually look at it on stage, your control of your waist, and it can count against you heavily. And I'm actually glad they're judging like that now, because we need to have that tapers and stuff sorted. So then when I use salt and water rather in show day with less food, we tend to fill up a lot more. Bear in mind, we need to have the fluids out by show day morning. You can't still have water and then trying to pull water off still and then do this, because it will backfire most times. So there's different ways. So I used to be one of those guys, and still most people is go-to for most people, that don't try too much details, especially in the beginning, but you 100% can change the look quite a lot by manipulating with salt and water. Again, most people don't need it, but some people, for that extra push up to, polish a physique. And to be honest, 80% of people are not lean enough to play around with stuff like that. I'm talking about absolutely peeled, like my Brazilian guy.
Yes. Then
Fat-free.
Then it becomes quite interesting.
Yeah, then it's actually amazing to see how the physique can change then with small things.
Within a few hours, it's totally different.
It's literally every meal is different. But yeah, your body fat needs to be peeled for that to happen. And most people are not there. I feel like most people, especially at amateur level, they feel like they're not there, and by doing these extra things they're going to get there, but they actually, so many people end up on stage looking a lot worse than what they looked 7 days out. I've seen this many
We've
times.
seen this so many times,
And it's so sad.
It
It
is.
is.
I just feel like people, depend too much on peak week. I'm not sure what they expect, but yeah, I've seen people look really, really good a week before the show, and then on show day, they look watery, they look soft. And again, you have to think about, what your peak week protocol was. I know there's a lot of people that have this belief about doing a dirty cheat meal the day before your show. And I know that's like an old school thing that a lot of people used to do. But guys, you can't incorporate something you have not prepped on. Say, for instance, your prep was 16 weeks long, and you've not had one single burger during that 16-week prep. You cannot bring a burger in the day before your show, because you do not know how it's going to sit on your digestive system. Are you going to bloat? Are you going to hold water? And this and that. So many times you see that look just unfortunately lose its condition because of that sort of thing. So always if you do a carb protocol, the safest way to always go about it is by incorporating the carbs you've been prepping on over that period of time, and I always like to use, in my personal preference, I always like to use rice-based carbs. So your rice, your cream of rice, your rice cakes. It's
Safer.
very good on the digestive system. It sits very well. It keeps you flat. It keeps you tight. It's nothing new to the body. The body knows how to accept it. But yeah, like rather do the safe route than doing something you haven't had all prep and having that risk factor come into play on your show day.
There is like 1 out of a million that doesn't work and they need something urgent. I've had that before, and then you have to like risk stuff.
What do you mean?
Like when someone doesn't fill up from, they've been having a ton of food.
Oh, yes.
They're just not filling up.
Yes.
It's just been pulled too flat and you don't have time. But that's again when someone is on the money, body fat wise, and it's much better to play it safe. And that's also why we as coaches use refeeds in a prep. Yes, it's to make the look better in prep to get a better response, fat loss, but it's also to see how the body responds from that foods and to potentially use it going closer to show and moving into show. And if you've been having the burger or the sushi in those refeeds and response has been great, just you can stick to the same one.
Right.
But
So-
again, the body needs to be used to the stuff. Yeah, I mean,
So-
look at the Olympians. No one uses stuff they've never used. I've watched so many channels now of coaches, bikini coaches. They always just like
Do the
rice-based, the cleanest stuff.
Yes.
And people are so quick to look up to these people, but then they try these fancy stuff always.
And again, when it comes to show day, well, at least for the girls, you don't have to eat a crazy amount of protein.
No.
In fact, you don't actually
Anything.
need any protein. You've already achieved the physique, so it's not like you're going to,
Even one day out.
it's not like you're going to lose any muscle if you don't eat protein on one day out or on show day. The most important part is that you have the carbs.
And the fats, if you need it for.
That you have the carbs one day before on show day, and the fats if you need for slow digestion, and also veggies. You don't need veggies.
No.
2 days. So I call it from 2 days out. Because
Actually,
it's
when
high
you start
fiber.
your carb up, you don't need it anymore.
Yes, because it's high in fiber. You're trying to obviously eliminate anything that could cause a potential bloat or holding off water, so you don't need extra fiber sources for that. So you kind of just like take that off, just focus on your carbs, a bit of fats,
And just to explain to them, it's not just about eating lower protein for muscle. It's actually taking room and it's making digestion slower and it's putting Your body
Yes.
takes longer to digest protein.
protein.
So that's why you want to lower it from 2 days or 1 day out, is to have that less stress and inflammation in the gut, so that the body can actually, run through the carbs and stuff a lot better. Plus, it gives you more room for carbs if you need it,
Absolutely.
which a lot of guys do. So, yeah. And then show day goes the same. Okay, we spoke about show day now, but yeah, low volume. Don't try and keep it high. Even if I have my guys that needs a lot of food on show day still, it's so low volume. Like, we'll use the lowest volume stuff you can get. I don't even use rice paste, or I'll get baby rice, but I'll make it like in a paste, so it's literally 100 grams of carbs, but it's like a handful, like a piece of cement.
And
But
also the thing is, if you kind of say, if you're reaching that, condition, that ideal stage condition where you want to be at a few weeks before your show, you have the opportunity to run a test peak week, which you can then incorporate a refeed, call it sushi or a burger, and then you can actually see what the effect of that would be on the look and on the body. And that is the only time I would actually repeat that, is if I've actually tested it during the prep. Because like you say, some people need more food than just normal diet.
And sometimes risk, like
out.
we get a check-in Friday night or Saturday morning of show day, and you're just like, oh no, too flat. And you need to urgently make a plan. So that's when you take risks.
Yes.
It's part of the game, and take different types of foods. But yeah, you shouldn't, like I said, it's very rare that happens. And it's just not worth it to
risk it. Because you've been prepping for so long. I mean, let's be honest.
risk it for the fun of it.
16 weeks of prep and you are 1 day out. It's not worth the risk, guys. Rather come in a bit flat but still have your insane condition than coming in watery and looking soft because you had a burger the day before.
Yeah, and even for the guys, it's, obviously using anabolics or something. In peak week, you must also remember a lot of those things, depending on what you use, does hold a lot of inflammation, and has bad, maybe not great response on appetite, on digestion and stuff like that. So it's always better to remove those, like also 8 days out or so, and really keep it basic.
Do you then stop all PDs like 8 weeks? 8 days before?
Injectables I would, but depending, again, it depends on how they look. If someone has still a lot of water in the body, I might remove someone that's maybe on a little low dose of, Anavar or something to pull water off. But if they look fine for me and they're on it, I will keep it in, because it does help with a bit of fullness. Stuff like if they're maybe on fat burning tools like Len, I will keep that in, but I'll just lower it to obviously the central nervous system, give it so it's not so hyped up, especially when you get to carb ups and stuff. And you get stuff like your himbine, which is a fat burner, but it also retains a lot of water. Again, it's something you want to remove 1 week out, in my opinion.
Because it also elevates the cortisol, right?
Yeah, and like I said, water. It just holds water. As soon as you remove it, you'll see a much tighter look. So all these things have pros and cons, like how the physique looks on it. That's why the timeline on it is so important, what you do when. And if you need to have more fullness, use something specific for that. So it depends on how you look. But anything that retains water or anything you need to remove, definitely.
And speaking of which, can we just talk about show day stress, what that could do to your look?
Yeah, and it can make the coach's job crazy.
Yeah. So guys, you really don't want to stress on show day. I know it's difficult.
Yeah, it's probably uncontrollable for most,
especially for amateurs. But
just stay busy,
you need to keep your mind busy, happy thoughts. just relax going into I mean, peak week in itself, you need to like tone it down in terms of your stress levels, right? So you want to kind of be in a more relaxed state of mind, and just, you know, go into show day. Again, come show day, you want to not feel anxious and nervous and all these things, because unfortunately it does elevate the cortisol, and unfortunately it will retain water on show day if you do stress. I've seen it happen a few times, and
It makes a massive difference on a lot of things. Food that always worked for you all of a sudden doesn't work for you. So yeah, the stress is the main cause of changing physique
Yeah,
drastically.
unfortunately that's something we as coaches don't have control of,
Yeah, but
which makes it hard
you need
because
to try and keep them calm, but yeah, it's difficult sometimes.
yes,
Even if something doesn't look right though on show day, or isn't right, or the tan is something wrong, just relax and, you know, talk to your coach or someone close and fix it
Yeah.
together. Don't try and panic before you know an answer or the way forward. It's just breathe and take it step by step and enjoy the process. That's why we're doing it.
yes.
You need to enjoy it.
Because you've worked so hard for that day, you honestly can't let anything like upset you on the day. It's the day is there for you to like enjoy the hard work that you've put into this, enjoy the stage time, and really like whatever happens on the day will be sorted. Like there will always be people to help you. Your coach is there, your friends are there, so you really just want to be as calm and collected as possible. I ask this especially for girls because I know how they feel, but
I think for girls it's better if they're in a group or with a friend that's also competing. It always helps. Doing makeup together, going to backstage together, I think that helps a lot.
yes. So
Sooner-
always try and like make a friend that you know is also going to compete at the show,
Yeah.
so that you at least have that person that can also keep your mind busy.
Yeah. And then, should we get to post-show?
Yes.
We covered everything. I think we covered the basics. There's so many stuff in peak
Ugh,
week.
it's so intricate, but guys,
The main thing is, don't use peak week as a magic week, and make sure your body fat wise you're ready 1 week out.
yeah.
Done. Should be ready. Then post-show. The difficult one. The one phase that's more difficult than prep.
It's more important. That part is more important post show. That is going to be the hardest diet that you're going to follow, because
100%.
you do not have a goal,
That-
a date. So
That's where real discipline
that's
kicks
where
in, not in
real-
prep.
yes,
Prep, you know, I'm going on stage, I need to look right. Everyone's going to see me. Okay, I stand up, do the cardio. Now post-show, there's no date.
and no
You
one's
feel
gonna
like
see you.
chilling. You see your friend is chilling. You think it's okay to take a bit of an easer now, till it's too late and you can't pull it back, and then you want to cry about it.
Oh,
Yeah, this is a very important phase, and like I said, this is where I feel like the longer you compete, the easier it gets. Definitely,
Yes.
we've all been through that first one of going crazy.
yes,
It's
it
normal.
comes with maturity in the game for sure. You do get better with your post-show approach because you learn from your mistakes.
And just your mind levels up also. Like
Yes.
your goals are bigger, you get more into that. You know, you're more hungrier to achieve success. You know how important it is. But yeah, also, like I said, I have different approaches when it comes to post-show, especially this year. I had quite a few people. So there's people I use post-show as a, again, bear in mind, I need to be lean enough for this, as a big growth phase, rebound phase, and I'm not reversing out of it. I'm going straight hard at them as a growth phase while they lean. But this is people that really need like a lot more tissue. Mostly the open guys. I haven't done this once with a girl. Bodybuilding guys, where, you know, we really push it hard post show. Obviously, what we do is we get blood work done straight away after show, because most of them are obviously using anabolics. So we get blood works done if blood works are 100% fine and okay to do this. We go into a 10-week rebound phase of putting as much tissue on as possible. And why this happens is your body, when it's so lean, is so responsive. This is the biggest time frame for growth, which is why I tell people in the off season, don't pick up body fat too much, because then you get to a point where you're wasting your calories, your time. Literally, you're eating to gain 0.1% muscle because you've just added so much body fat. You want to keep that body in a responsive place. Now, when you're this lean, early after show, you have that gap for 10 weeks. And most cases, these guys get to 8 weeks and they're still pretty tight and lean. Then on 10 weeks, we actually do the recovery phase, where we, if they were pushing anabolics again, maybe we come off of that. We run a full-on recovery phase. We do a recomp phase again from that, pull food down, relax the digestive system a bit, get a bit tighter till we start the next off-season. But for most people, post-show is obviously a way of recovering and slowly bringing that food up. But you can explain how important it is with following the plan and that slowly building it up.
Okay, so I'm going to speak for females.
It's
then.
fine.
So
most
what
guys
I
are
like
like
to do,
that
my
also.
approach is I like to start with like a 600 calorie increase directly after show. Obviously prioritizing protein. I'll push up for satiety, so it's going to help you feel a lot fuller, having more protein, and then obviously your fats, very, very important for
big
hormone
one.
health. A lot of girls will lose their cycle during prep if they get to a certain low body fat percentage. It's quite normal for them to lose it for that time frame until they start reversing out of prep, and then which I bring the fats back up to a relatively high place, like between, say, depending again on the body weight, but somewhere between 45 and 60 grams. And then obviously to bring the hormone health back up, to bring all of those.
That is peak fat.
What do you mean?
Do you take it up to that straight away?
Yeah.
Okay, I go a bit lower.
Okay.
But it's fine. Go. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think as long as it's above around 40, it's fine.
Like I've had good results from it. Like in most cases, I've been able to get their cycle back within 2 months post show.
Okay.
Based on that.
That's good.
And then the rest will obviously be from carbs. But also my approach coming out of show would also be to kind of just rest a few days. I like to, depending on how long the athlete's been in prep for, but ideally at least, 2 or 3 days at least, complete rest days post-show, and then slowly but surely start implementing training again, but also no heavy weights to start off with. Just ease your body back into it, and then the following week then you can go up again, heavy weights. But it's all a gradual process. You kind of reversing yourself back into that phase before. You don't just want to kind of come out of a low deficit and tons amounts of cardio and drop all of that when you come post show. You ease yourself back out of it, so you will not drop all your cardio either. You're going to keep it in. So if you were, say, 45 minutes cardio, maybe cut it down to 25 minutes cardio. Bring your food up with a good amount of fats, proteins. 600 calories is a good way to kind of reverse out of it. And then every week you can kind of start increasing those calories depending on how your body responds. But again, the same what applies for the guys applies for the girls as well. It's a very it's your only window that you'll be so responsive. So you want to make the most out of that post-show window for growth to gain more muscle, you know, and add that to your frame.
Not just that, I feel like the people that use post-show as a reverse phase and not a rebound growth phase, they don't always, yes, you still go for growth, but they focus more on getting their food to a higher place, keeping the body fat tight, dropping stress in the body, feeling more human again, but then making sure food is high enough, body fat is low enough when that off-season starts. Because most times, this first 4 weeks, people blow up. They start the off-season with 10 kilos above stage weight. No, you need to cut again.
Yes.
You can't do that. You're just wasting your time
guys.
and your money on
Yes.
everything.
So ideally for a female, you don't want to, like a good window or a good, like, how can I put it, marker to work from is 10 to 12% above stage weight is what you kind of want to gain. You don't want to go over
Yeah,
that.
so if someone is 60 kilos on stage, you're looking at like 6.5.
So say 67. You don't really want to go over 67 in the off-season.
If 60 was your stage weight,
Yes, because then it becomes time wasting. Because now you're gaining too much body fat to make significant gains.
And the thing is, the more you mess around in the off season, the further you push that weight, the more you're gonna struggle and hate. Trust me, they're gonna hate prep when it starts. That is when people go into prep and they start their social media posts. Oh, I hate this. I feel like this, and blah blah blah. That's your own fault. It's because you don't have discipline in the off season. That's no one else's fault. All my people that's been consistent in the off season, literally every single one, has had the most amazing prep. Yes, they get hungry. Everyone gets hungry and stuff, but they had the most amazing prep, most amazing response from everything. It's because
you don't have to do the extremes.
Yeah, I mean, if you pick up 15 kilos for females, like I'd say some do pick up 15. Imagine now having to start prep and you have to drop all of that. And the first, like we spoke about the other day, first 8 weeks, you're lucky if you get 2 kilos moving. So your prep is going to be 8 weeks longer because your body is so stuck to that. It takes a few weeks before it gets moving. And then once it gets moving, then you're on the go. So then prep actually starts. So you're looking then at the 22 week prep. So I say again, if you want to have a better prep, more enjoyable prep, and really be your best on stage, that work is done in the off-season and improvement phase, not in prep. It's, not how great your coach are. That is all on you, on your discipline. And I feel like this is something, coaches need to be more serious with athletes. And yes, it's important to have balance with, I'm not saying you can't have a meal out with friends and chill a bit more. I'm just saying you need to have control over where you push your body fat and your weight and performance in the gym, digestion, all these things, making sure you tick your boxes. Because if you are serious and if you are the person posting about, I want to get my pro card next year, but you can't even follow the plan in the off season,
then you're not serious.
Then you need to take a sit and look at yourself in the mirror and ask what your real goals are. Why are you doing this? Because any person that wants to become pro and go further is going to be spot on in the off season. Right. Communication with us as coaches is going to be spot on with us. Everything they're going to handle it as a prep, like the feedback they give us, training, like check-ins with us. Everything is going to be like it was a prep. And I can just realize when training or working with people, I can see straight away with how their mindset is just by talking to them or just going into the off season. I know exactly who's going to take it far in this game and who's not. And,
because the work ethic is there, in any season right throughout the year. It's not only when prep starts, okay, now I'm going to work and now I'm going to follow my diet.
And a lot of people are like that. And yes, maybe some of them win shows, but they are not going to get pro cards or they're not going to be competitive at a pro level. Yes. That's where they're going to stop because it's their genetics that takes them to that point. That's all. Yeah. They're not going to go further. can tell you that now. So yeah, but yeah, the reverse phase is very important, and like you said, you have to bring the cardio down, but it needs to stay in. And I like to keep cardio in the off season, not because yes we're going to keep things tighter, but also it's good for health.
Heart health.
Yeah, heart health, very good, very good for
Digestion.
bloods overall, digestion. Some of my males I've seen, Jake is a great example. So deep off season, he eats a lot, like 7,000 calories, because he's obviously touching 130 kilos. And what we've noticed in his previous off season is as soon as the weight moved up and the food is high, the the blood pressure and the blood glucose started going up a lot. And obviously it's not healthy for your body to eat that much, and inflammation is sky high. So what we've realized this time around, his steps, not by forcing it, because of his work forcing it, steps was double. So from 8 it went to 15,000. Again, probably not ideal in the off season to do this much steps, but he's, without using anything to help with blood pressure, anything to help with blood glucose, literally nothing, his blood pressure was better than what was even when he was lean. His blood glucose was crazy low, and the food was even higher, and his body fat was tighter. Everything was just so much better response. So movement is key in the off season for health, for digestion, for everything. But again, you don't want to be doing too much, because we've been down that road with clients. Then prep starts.
And then you don't have tools.
They did more cardio than what they supposed. I actually had a chat today with someone telling me she is a few weeks post-show. She still be doing Stairmaster in the morning faster, and then a cardio post-workout. Is it okay? So I'm like, no, because she is messing up the reverse dieting phase post-show right now, because I don't know what's going on. I increased the food maybe, or, we don't know where the expenditure is at. And now she sees the scale go up with a kilo. Oh, let's increase the cardio without telling me. No, guys, you need to communicate with your coach, because I've had people do this before, not telling me. Prep started, they were already on 40 minutes cardio. Now all of a sudden we don't get a response at all. I don't know they were doing 40 minutes cardio.
Because your body's already adapted to 40 minutes of cardio.
And now, same with the food. 2,000 calories, for example, they were eating 500 less. I thought they were still on 2,000, so I maybe start prep 200 less. And in their mind, they're starting prep, so now I'm following the plan.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play around anymore.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, they're eating more food now and doing less cardio, and boom, the weight starts going up, or it's not moving. Meanwhile, I didn't have a clue what's going on.
Meanwhile, that person's in a surplus.
Exactly. And again, guys, with saying that, you do get metabolic adaptation. This is a fact. So why, if we cut down, let's say you get to 4 weeks into prep, you hit a plateau, weight doesn't move. Now you make cardio more, or you make food less, starts moving again. It happens again, hits a plateau. Your metabolic rate goes down. As a person dieting, your TSH in your body produces less T3 and T4. Your thyroid comes down. Less food going in that the metabolic rate is working through. So now your body is stuck at prep when it was at 1.4, 1.5 as a female, for example, which is why that reverse phase now is so important, to build that back up slowly. And yes, you're going to pick up weight. You need to remember you can't be stage lean deep into the off season or reversing. But it's important to build that back up for when you start
Prep.
When you're in the off season, that you're obviously gaining muscle tissue needed. But when you start prep again, it's at a high place to start. You don't want to have to start at, imagine eating 1.4 and now you want to start cutting, or, picking up weight on 1,500 calories as a goal, and you want to cry about it because you don't understand. Meanwhile, it's you that's under eating and not, following the plan or tracking the calories or whatever. So it's very important, that phase up, for the coach to understand, for your success, to go further, to achieve your goals, for health. So many pros and positives out of it.
Yes. And another thing that I wanted to just touch on was that, so what we see happen a lot is a lot of people start their prep being 15 to 20 kilos away from their stage weight. Now they prep day 1, 16 weeks they give themselves 16 weeks. I'm not speaking about anyone of our like team or whatever, but like just in general. So then they give themselves 16 weeks to lose 15 to 20 kilos.
No.
And then they like add a coach and whatever. So the coach gives them like a strict diet, like, 1,200 calories, an hour cardio. You do that. By week 4, you're like, no, this doesn't sound right. Why are you doing the extremes and this
Start
and that
cheating.
to lose weight? But you need to remember that, the coach is obviously taking the measures to get you stage ready in 16
Yeah.
weeks. So it is going to call for extremes.
Yeah, we obviously don't advise this, but
we don't believe in
but
it. Like for me, I would tell that person, look,
change the date.
we will only be like, I would tell them you need 25 weeks to prep, or
Exactly.
but I wouldn't push it. But like, this is what I've seen happen on the outside, and then what I see from that is I'd see people complain on social media about this coach is giving them low calories, all this cardio, and they like 10 weeks out. But you need to be considerate.
That's
about
unfortunately what is actually needed.
Yes,
Your coach should actually change the date. You shouldn't, but they're doing that because they're seeing where you're at.
Right,
but I feel like some even do it even if the client is fine, to be honest.
And then they'll still stand on stage. So you guys just need to like be considerate about the fact that like when you decide to embark on a prep journey or get a show date, see where you are at and how far you are off. Speak
Be
to
realistic.
someone. Yes, speak to a coach that can guide you and give you like a good timeline. Do not force a show date. If you want to do a 16-week and your coach says you like a bit too far, then push it out, push it out to a different show date. Because if you are trying to achieve a look in 16 weeks, the extremes are going to be done. You're going to be upset. Your coach is going to be upset, and the look
maybe
is not going
you're ready body fat wise, but it's not going to be your best package, your best physique.
The look isn't going to be stage ready. It's going.
And you're going to definitely lose muscle that you've had.
And as well, you're going to look tired, you're going to look depleted, you're going to look sick. People are going to be worried about you. I'm sure all of this sounds familiar, but this is what's happening out there. So I just wanted to it's not. And
it's not always the coach though.
It's not always the coach.
Not always the great approach and stuff, but it's not always the coach. People bad mouthing coaches when they don't get results or when they struggle. But it's like I said now. They doing what's needed for you to be ready, because the goal is almost unrealistic because you did not follow your plan in the off season, or you messed around. So the harder that prep is, that's all on you. And that's a fact, unfortunately.
So
we've all been there.
Your off season well, and your prep will be amazing.
Yeah, and don't complain when you have to suffer to be ready. We all have a choice to compete, and you want to be next level when you're on stage. So that takes discipline of a next level. That's why a lot of people can't do this.
You have to be obsessed.
There will come a time where you're going to have to push very hard to be ready. Everyone gets there.
Yes.
I always use CBUM eating 1,500 calories 3 weeks out. Imagine. Imagine. He's way bigger than most people. But yeah, I think that touches those two topics. I'm not sure how. Training intensity quickly, or should we move? We can probably, it's just basics. It's just people don't understand, but.
Yeah. So, let's touch on that. So, a thing that I noticed a lot is, why people, coaches, athletes, why they're not getting the ideal results in terms of their physique improvements is because the training is lacking a lot. Like, I feel there's a lot of people out there that are not training with enough intensity, and that is something that we need to for sure, speak of.
Some people, have genetic potential to train like nothing, and they become world champions or they go to the Olympia. Yes, there's people like this. I can tell you now, there's Olympians that maybe not train as hard as some of the amateurs, but because their genetics is so good. So yes, but 99.5% of people don't have genetics to compete at that level. So, or to, really be at that level. So this is why it's so important, your intensity in the training. It's extremely important. Like I said, a lot of people say it's only diet, and yes, that's probably going to get you lean and build the muscle, help. But I've seen so many people that every box is nailed, but they don't make the progress I'm thinking they're going to make. And then, when you see them train, you actually see that, okay, that's the problem. Because as soon as either the reps are not quality reps, or they don't go heavy enough. For example, I'm giving them 10 reps. So they'll do the 10 reps with 50 kilos, but actually they can do 20 reps with that 50 kilos. But they stop on 10 because the plan says 10.
Yeah.
So it's so important that you pick a weight, especially if you're doing like working sets and stuff, that you pick a weight where you're basically almost going to get to failure on the given rep. So if I say 10, for example, and you get to 10 and it feels like you can do 2 more before you fail quality movements, you need to do them because you need to get the most out of that set. It's so important, and that's where growth happens. And the same with some people, they stop when it burns, or especially girls maybe, when it feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
But that's when things happen. That's when you need to push.
Growth happens outside of the comfort zone, right? So when you get to that rep range and you feel like, okay, now I'm about to die, anything beyond that is where the growth is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's where you really need to push yourself. And I know it's hard. Like, automatically our body is telling us.
No, and your mind is fighting you, doesn't like it.
Yes.
This is where a very good training partner helps.
Yes.
Because I'm not saying someone that tells you do 10 more when you actually can only do 2. I'm saying someone that actually knows, like, okay, you need to get 5 more out here, you can.
Yes.
And then by the time you do 3, you really struggle, and they help you a little bit and you get those 2 out. That's proper training.
So what I like to suggest is, when you go to the gym, scout out who's training more or less your time, you know what I mean, and find a buddy and then ask them if they want to train with you, and then that's how you make a training partner. Luckily in my case, I've been able to, everywhere where I've trained in the past, I've been able to make a buddy at the gym, and then I train together, and I just feel like, I train so much harder when I have that person pushing me, telling me, you can do 3 more, because I've already, it's thought in my mind, I'm only going to push to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone's actually shouting at me, you can do 3 more, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go.
Or even just someone that looks, because if you say, okay, the plan says 15, and now you do your 15, you can't stop before when it burns, because he's actually there watching, so you feel accountable. But yeah, just as good as that is, a training partner can also bring you down a lot. So it needs to be the right person.
Yes.
Someone that just talks or not pushing you and dragging your energy is also not going to help. So.
But yeah, I would highly recommend looking at that, especially if you are someone that really struggles with training. You know what I mean? Really just struggling to push yourself. I highly recommend looking at that. And then just, if you're unsure about your form or your execution or your intensity,
send a video.
Yes, let someone film you or film it yourself and send a video to your coach. Let them, guide you and tell you, okay, yes, you're doing it right, wrong, or whatever the case might be, to improve your form even more, or checking if the intensity is there. But yeah, that's the only way you're really going to grow in terms of muscle, is really by pushing yourself where it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, guys, you need to up the intensity game. because that is what's holding most people back, trust me. Always make sure, obviously, it's quality movements. You don't want to form your, you don't want to go crazy and berserk just to lift heavy weight. Yes, you want to get strong, but you want to get strong with quality movements. And make sure that you challenge yourself every week or every 2 weeks. Maybe not every week you can go heavier, but try and challenge yourself to do more reps or to do more weight, time under tension. Really feel the muscle working. Don't just move weight to move it for Instagram.
You need to stimulate that muscle fiber consistently, so because that muscle adapts to whatever weight it's comfortable at. So if you leg press 100 kilos every week, it knows the weight. So it's nothing new. It's comfortable.
You need to give it stress.
Nothing's going to happen. Your muscle's not going to grow.
Everything levels up under pressure. You need to put your muscle under pressure.
You need to put it under pressure. You need to put it under stress. And that way you're creating stimulus in the muscle. And that way it's going to grow.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, get uncomfortable and you'll see the progress.
Guys, like, follow a plan. Log your numbers.
That's another thing. Follow a plan. Yeah, you can't expect to change the plan every 2 weeks. Yes, because you're bored in a gym. If you're bored in a gym, you're definitely not doing bodybuilding for the right reasons. And if you're bored in the gym, you're definitely not training for progress and to grow. Because if you really challenge yourself to get strong, you will keep wanting to do that movement to do better. Like every week, I can't wait to better myself on the deadlift. Like we started with deadlifts now again, me and Aida, and literally every week we can't wait to next week we need to add a 10.
Yes, you
like
need to do better.
you need to do that. I don't want to change it because I'm bored.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
It's
so you guys need to get that.
Better at a movement is by consistently doing it every week. You can't change it because else how are you going to get better at it?
And now you change it again. And then you go back at it again later, starting over again. No, guys, you need to get stuck there and get strong. At least for 10, 12 weeks. That's where you're really going to get the most,
out of that opinion. Out of that one movement, that one exercise.
I've been on the same training plan now for the same
months.
split as if the days I'm training, but like for probably 5 months. And still, I just want to get in there and add new PBs. And I'm not even competing. So, yeah, guys, don't change things when it's working. But yeah, I think that covers this podcast.
Yes, that was a good.
We need to leave more for the next ones. We might do a Q&A for the next one again, so I'll just post I will post on the stories.
And if you guys have any questions regarding any of the topics that we discussed today, please comment down below.
Yeah, and if you want to have any questions, maybe you want us to talk about in the next one, I'll write them down. So make sure that you put them in the comments, and please share, guys, because we obviously want
knowledge
this.
Is power.
Yeah, we want this to reach more people, and that's how the page is gonna grow, and it's just gonna motivate us to do more. So yeah, we want to keep helping you guys. So yeah, just pop us if you have any questions, and remember, uncomfortable is where you grow. So go and win the week and get uncomfortable. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.